A very good evening and welcome to State of Business, our television's primetime business news bulletin. I'm Madhusha Tavapalakumar. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Sri Lanka and Indonesia agrees to expand economic cooperation, trade and investment. Tea industry shows a positive outlook in 2017. Now the stories in detail. Upon an invitation extended by President Maithripala Sirisena, Indonesian President Joko Widodo visited Sri Lanka on a two-day state visit and met with President Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat in Colombo yesterday. During the meeting, Indonesian President expressed his willingness to provide technical assistance to Sri Lanka for the development of medical equipment manufacturing, railway industry, as well as for the advancement of the education field. This is the first visit of an Indonesian president to Sri Lanka in 38 years. Bilateral discussions were held after a cordial meeting between the two leaders. The leaders also discussed further strengthening of cooperation in the garment sector. The Indonesian president said that he will look into the possibilities of establishing a railway equipment manufacturing company in Sri Lanka. After bilateral discussions, 3 agreements were signed to enhance cooperation in the presence of the leaders. MOUs on higher education, research and technology, cooperation, prevention of illegal drug trafficking, and search and rescue missions were signed. Minister of Plantation Industries Naveen Dissanayake stated that the tea industry has performed better in 2017 with a total crop increase of 5% from 292 million kilograms in 2016 to 307 million kilograms in 2017, despite several setbacks including a temporary ban on tea exports to Russia. Speaking at an annual review of the Tea Board, Minister Dissanayake also noted that the relevant authorities should focus mainly on quality and cleanliness when producing tea.
In 2017, Ceylon tea exports was at 289 million kilograms and export revenue was at 233 billion rupees. Turkey has emerged as the largest buyer of Ceylon tea with 35.4 million kilograms, followed by Iraq with 31.4 million kilograms, Russia with 31 million kilograms and Iran with 24.9 million kilograms. China remained the fastest growing market for Ceylon black tea. A quantity of 9.9 million kilograms was exported in 2017 with an increase of 30% in volume over 2016.
So I'm very happy to note the increase in production to 307 million kilos from 292 million, the increase of 5%. And I'm tremendously encouraged and very positive about the increase in price, because as you know, the Colombo tea auction gets the best price out of all the auctions in the world. So we get about $5 per kilo, whereas the Kenyans get about $2. So these are very positive trends. Production is very high, prices are good. So we are going to concentrate on quality and cleanliness. So there are other achievements we have to make. We have to get the processes right. We have to get especially the RPCs, we have to get some monitoring system in place for that. We have to get the tea smallholding replanting done properly, and we have to concentrate on our cleanliness and quality. Quality. This is what I want.
Meanwhile, responding to a question raised by a journalist regarding measures taken by the ministry to maintain the current price of tea, the minister made the following statement.
I do not want to make drastic decisions that will affect the industry, but saying that, I also think that we have to make decisions for the long-term benefit of the industry. So the main argument against it is that what I asked the proponents for the blending is, can you guarantee me that the prices won't fall if blending happens? Because I told you earlier also that our government's thrust and full effort is to protect our prices. So if there is going to be a falling of prices by allowing a policy of blending, we can't allow that, because that will really cause social chaos for our smallholders. And also the RPCs, they are also against it. So roughly speaking, the industry is divided on this issue, and I as a minister have to take a policy decision based on protection of the industry. I don't want to take a decision that will affect the industry in a bad way, because something goes wrong, everybody will say Naveen Dissanayake is to blame. All the proponents for the industry will slowly disappear, and I will be left carrying the baby. So it must be a consensual decision by the industry. Maybe take it slow, take it step by step, take a few steps forward and see by having a limited controlled blending to happen and see where it goes. I mean, certainly I'm open for that. But to suddenly open this and change it in 24 days, 24 hours, 7 days, no. Because the industry is a very traditional industry. It's a very industry that is goes back a long way. Status quo remains, and I don't want to upset it too much. I'm very happy with the progress that we are getting now. Yeah, because the cheaper teas will be, if cheaper teas come in from abroad, and if they come into the auction, then there is a real threat of our prices coming down because those are cheaper teas. So as you know, in Sri Lanka, they say all these blending facilities can be properly regulated and controlled. But Sri Lanka is Sri Lanka. As you know, certain things you say it won't come out of blending zones or whatever, but it will come out. Definitely it will come out. And there are nefarious people in this country, people who want to make quick buck. So I can't take that risk.
See you after this break. Welcome back. ISAS Colombo Colloquium, co-hosted by the Institute of Policy Studies, was held in Colombo recently under the patronage of Singaporean Trade and Industry Minister S. Easwaran. During an interactive session at the event with IPS Chairman Professor Razeen Sali, Singaporean Minister S. Easwaran highlighted the trade benefits of the Free Trade Agreement, which was inked between Sri Lanka and Singapore.
The ISAS Colombo Colloquium 2018 was organized against the backdrop of the signing of the Free Trade Agreement between Singapore and Sri Lanka. A memorandum of understanding between the ISAS and the IPS was also signed by Dr. Sali and ISAS Chairman Ambassador Gopinath Pillay in front of the Singaporean Minister S. Easwaran.
We are signing an FTA at a time when the global rhetoric, and you could argue that there's considerable anti-globalization sentiments. And it is important that we right-side attitudes towards globalization. Yes, globalization can pose challenges, but it also unlocks significant opportunities for our people and our businesses. And so, whilst governments should engage in efforts to integrate their economies with larger economic entities in order to realize the value and opportunities that they present, it is equally important that governments focus on the domestic aspects, because in every one of these initiatives, there are businesses, there are segments of the population, there are sectors where there needs to be targeted effort in order to enable them to participate in globalization and enjoy the benefits that go with it. So I think it is significant that two countries, Sri Lanka and Singapore, are making this move somewhat against the tide of global rhetoric, but I think with a clear eye to the future and what can be achieved. I think it is also an opportunity for your small and medium-sized enterprises to access not just the Singapore market, but the larger ASEAN market. For Sri Lanka, it is again an opportunity to plug into the ASEAN e-commerce platform and also to reverse in terms of what can be done with India and some of the other markets of South Asia.
Following a question raised by Dr. Razeen Sali, Singaporean Minister S. Easwaran expressed the following views regarding investment opportunities in Sri Lanka and the measures that should be taken to attract more foreign direct investments into the country.
In terms of what we can do going forward to promote the investments, so the sectors, I would say, for example, the whole tourism and hospitality sector is one that is rich with potential in Sri Lanka. You're blessed with rich natural assets and cultural heritage. And at the same time, I know that investors are looking for new possibilities in the Indian Ocean to diversify their interests and in order to access new market opportunities. And I think Sri Lanka ticks all the boxes, and I think it's something that can be pursued. But what it then means is the government and the agencies involved with investment promotion have to first clearly identify what are the opportunities, whether it is development of tourism precincts in certain areas, whether it is particular heritage buildings which could be developed into hotels or other kinds of hospitality infrastructure, etc. So that's the first thing. Secondly, what are the rules of engagement? What is available? What they're expected to comply with? And thirdly, then facilitate the business contact with the relevant government departments as well as potential local partners. I think that will unlock a lot of potential. We're already seeing interest in this space. Tomorrow at the Business Forum, there will be some MOUs signed, and some of them are actually in the area of hospitality.
Let's take a look at the stocks after this short break. Welcome back. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The All Share Price Index gained 7.44 points to close at 6,448.21, and the S&P SL20 gained by 2.66 points to close at 3,747.90. The turnover was 1.3 billion rupees and 16 million shares were traded. Up next is Forex Trades. With that, we are wrapping up State of Business for the day. We will meet you tomorrow at the same time with more latest news. Until then, take care. Good night.